variety.
Okay. Don't be afraid to throw that a little bit in there.
Yeah, I'm gonna try to sing.
I remember that.
Look, I'm the hype man. Go, girl. That's right.
All right, say it one more time.
Celebrating New Year's, and it is going to be lovely. I am your host, Coffe Iman. Of course, you guys have been following me, and this is our special with But First Coffee. So, ladies,
yes,
the 2023 year is ending, and we made it. This has always been a burning question. You know, everybody ladies can't get together. We can't do business together. How are we celebrating each other? So did you have like an empowering moment this year that just stood out and said, you know what, this is what's bringing me through. It's gonna bring me through. Mm-hmm. I mean, lately I've been hit with positive women. Earlier this year, we got to see the premiere of The Color Purple, and I thought that was just like, I mean, I laughed, I cried. I'm like, woo! When did we get here? Like, how did we become adults so fast?
Let's rewind that block a little bit.
Did we all drop that meme that said adulting? I want a refund, or it's ghetto here. Then we adulting is so hood.
Yeah. This is ghetto. This is the worst shit I've ever experienced. I don't want to be here. I don't want to be a part of it daily. Like, hey, I know you thought that was an idea, but like, bring it back. What's amazing to me is how when you're younger, you cannot wait to be an adult. Because you want to do everything you want to do. You don't want nobody to tell you what to do. But then when you're an adult, it's like, if I could go back.
You're not go back.
We were clear that we didn't want nobody telling us what to do. We didn't want to pay bills. See, that was what was going on. Bills and the responsibility of having to function in society. I still don't want nobody telling me what to do, but I don't want the bills that come with the responsibility of freedom. Such is life, right?
It is.
Such is life. So your question was?
The empowering moment. So, like, did you have somebody come rescue you and say, you know, we women, I got you.
Yes.
Like, what was that?
I had a couple of those moments with, you know, just kind of going through some situations. I felt like I was by myself, but out of the blue, like I had women that came and supported me and helped me through it, talked me through it, you know, them late night phone calls or them long phone calls that you don't want to have. No, they were there. They were that listening ear. So, you know, it was a good year in that moment, in that season.
Well, I would say, honestly, being an inspirational singer, I'm often encouraging everybody else, right? That's what I do. From my children all the way up to the rest of the family to the world, right? But it's kind of hard to find that inspiration or that encouragement within yourself for yourself, you know? But let me tell you where I did find it at. I was listening to a video that Ice Cube had put out. And his statement was, and this encouraged me to the max, he said, if you're doing anything and you're doing it within yourself, your own business, whatever it is, you should not look for a return, not even a penny, until the 5th year. After that 5th year is over, then you can begin to reap. He said that's when everything happened because you didn't put it in the hard work. And that thing resonated. And I said, when did I release my album? That's the Thank you, Ice Cube.
I'm about to attach that video myself.
We do find inspiration in like when people make those posts. So like that is like the upside to me of like having a social media. Especially if you don't have your girls with you in the state you live in, you find yourself like man, let me see if they doing okay. What they posted. Okay, they made it through. Let me just keep my mouth shut and make it through today too, because you just never know what's going on. And it's all about building relationships. So how do you keep your relationship strong if we're always busy running around?
One of the things for me is I'm a full-time entrepreneur, and it has been very hard, and I've been very blessed though because I have stability in my household, so I'm able to pursue these things. And so in that particular instance, I get to own my time. And because I have ownership of my time, I can choose to dedicate it to various different spaces. And so as I do have a lot of entrepreneur friends and also friends that work 9 to 5, I can adjust my time to fit in with where they have availability. And it's been really great at being able to also reflect on what my needs are, but also ask them what their needs are and be okay with some people just don't have time for you.
Being okay with it.
That's freedom. Like you have it, girl, and that's amazing.
Almost makes everybody jealous, right?
When I grow up.
But in that same sense, those friends have to understand
They have to.
you and your time and what you're doing.
Absolutely.
So if they can't understand that, then they're not really being a friend, and that's on the verge of being selfish.
It is.
But also, you have to realize people sometimes can't come outside of themselves.
True.
So your struggle and their struggle, I can't even see you because I'm not even acknowledge my own, but I know I have them. And so in this journey, even with who I'm being really particular about who my encouragement system is. Because if you living out of your fear, you can't tell me about it. You can't discourage me from being in mine. So what are we doing? What are we doing when I'm sitting here like, oh, I'm running this business, and I want to profit here, and I want to buy and do all these things? You can't compute that because it doesn't make sense for you. That's not your modality. So my friendships that I have, I do understand there are limitations. Sometimes you cannot come in this room because you can't exist here yet. Because you don't want to either. And so it's right. You have to want to be here. We show up every day because we choose to show up.
That's right.
We don't get to say, because we feel uncomfortable by staying stagnant. We are the people that sit here and be like, oh my God, if I see this one more time, or that I gotta fix that thing, and I gotta make this next goal. Those things trigger us. Unlike some people, they're okay with existing in the way that they exist. You don't have to be an entrepreneur. You don't have to be a creative to find your own freedom. You just choose to do it this way.
I don't even mind though if my friends are not entrepreneurs. My thing is always that check-in. It takes you literally 2 seconds. You could be on the toilet. You cool? How you doing? You good? It's like sometimes I take a half an hour out of maybe a month, and I'm texting everybody at one time because I'm like, man, I don't have no time, but they may just need a heart emoji sent. It's like, I didn't cross your mind at all this year. Like, bruh.
You start to scroll through the messages. All the way to the right.
You don't even want to send in a text.
Right.
It's coming from social media. But you've been busy, so you made time.
Yeah.
And it's also creating a circle that makes time for you.
Absolutely.
And I'm noticing now, because I'm in a particular season where like I need people who are going to care and take time to check in with me. I have a million things going on, and I'm always a check-in friend. I'm smooth, cool for a little text or FaceTime. Be like, hey, what you doing? Oh, you cool? Okay, let me go about my business.
Yeah.
But I definitely want that reciprocation in friendship, and business has also taught me that there are certain boundaries, certain expectations that we all have in relationship, and we also have to be in agreement that we're going to show up this particular way.
Yeah.
But even in business,
check-in friends are the friends that people don't check on ever.
Yes.
The strong
Because they
friends.
feel, they don't hear you because, oh wow, she's so busy, she's so strong,
She
she's
got it together.
she's always taking care of others.
They're bothering you.
Yes.
I have a friend who always,
that's
hey,
true.
I'm sorry to bother you.
Yeah.
Well, what you text me for? Don't text me assuming that you are. Let me tell you. But then if I answer the phone, that means I made time for you.
Yes.
And I want
I saw you. I see that you
I acknowledge your existence.
So I have to. I get a little bit antsy with the people who assume
that you're bad.
that you're. You know what I mean? It's like, oh my goodness, can you not do that?
But that says a lot more about them than it does about
It does.
Yeah.
So they're just not in business too.
So how do you keep those relationships live? Because a lot of us been ticking and talking for like a long time, but you like, man, I'm choosing entrepreneurship this time. So how did that work for you?
I will say this. I am the person who checks on a lot of people, but in these past couple of years, I have gone into overwhelm. And so I very easily will have my head under the blanket because I'm just like, this is too much. And the people who know you, they know and they understand. So I will say that there is a space for grace for everybody because sometimes where you sow is not always where you're going to reap, and sometimes what happens is, you can have a million things going on and it seems like nobody's there, and I've had this because I've had several businesses. So the people who you expect to be there, who you always show up for, maybe they're not available, but then God will send somebody.
Yeah.
I had a young lady who I knew her for 2 days. She came to my house, she helped me put these bags together for a big event that I was doing, and I was just like, this is amazing because sometimes we have to temper our expectations. We all have stuff going on, and we don't know what other people are going through, and sometimes people don't tell you everything. That's one of the things that we have to realize. People go through relationship problems, they go through health problems, they go through family problems, they suffer with depression. We don't know. And so when we get to a place in our life where it's just like, getting outside of our head, as you said, and saying, okay, this is not about me. I don't know what this person has going on. Or also knowing that when God drops somebody on your heart, like maybe you're going through something, but it makes you feel good to reach out to check on somebody else because you're like, for whatever reason, I felt like I needed to reach out to you. And so just knowing that sometimes it's being selective about who that is because there are people in your life who will drain you, who are like, well, let me think about me. And it's just like, oh, how am I doing today? So we just
And they talk about the same 3 things. It's like, bro, do you not hear your own self?
But also, like, why is this all of it?
Why is this all of it? Why is anything else?
Why are you choosing it?
Exactly.
I say all the time, when people go through that whole motion of it and they repeat it, and I'm like, do she not realize we just talked about this last week? Well, in order to get some different results,
you
gotta do something different. So within this situation, I need you to figure out what you need to do different.
But one thing that, I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
The one thing that I cannot stand is, I can't help it. Or I don't want to be the one to teach somebody else. How else are they going to learn? Like, sometimes it is your responsibility to teach people how to treat you.
people how to treat you.
Yeah.
You have to, as an individual.
Yeah, because my thing is, you're not even taking accountability that this person was a person for 30 or whatever years before they was in your season, in your space.
Right.
Now all of a sudden, you like, they should know.
But
You don't even know. Like, you didn't know.
Everybody is different every day depending on how they feeling.
And if you haven't changed, something's wrong.
Yeah, as you get older. One of the things that me and my girlfriends did during the pandemic, we drew boundaries and talked amongst it with each other. Like, this is what we're gonna have a safe word. Sometimes when I call you, the first thing we should do is say how each other doing and don't call me and just pour out. So we came up with a safe word. If I say that word, hey, I can't internalize mine and yours today. So let's talk about something else. And I just had one of these conversations like 2 days ago.
We do check-ins. Like I called her like today. I was peak at it, but I definitely like, hey. And she was like, good morning. I said, do you have capacity? Yes or no? I'm making those in 5 seconds. Yes, I feel
that is good.
She was like, let me walk his dog. I'm about to go.
I love that.
Because sometimes you don't know where your friend is at. You're calling in a state of pain. We had to do that because I'm very big on communication. She was just like, I'll get over it. I'm not.
Sometimes that could determine how your day is how you feel for the rest of the day.
But also, we have learned to not carry each other's burdens. Like what I'm going through and what she's going through, they are separate things. Although we are in space together.
I need to learn.
Although we're in space together, like I'm her brand manager and I help her with her business. She helps me with mine and packaging some of my items. Those things can exist. I do. She does do farm work for me. Thank you.
It's clear.
But at the end of the day, like I know when it comes to our personal lives, we are constantly in motion with each other. I cannot bottle up and get pissed about whatever you going through in mine. And we just walk away, okay, you got capacity, I get the vent. She gets to be like, okay, that has absolutely nothing to do with me.
I was just getting ready to say that. You have to definitely agree to
So
that.
when do you decide to mature? Because some people, I'm just saying, because some people choose to, it's because I've known you since daycare, literally. So for us to grow into a space, she may get used to me being a certain way, and then one day I'm not. And then you like, oh, I have to be this way around this person because that's what your body just ticks into it.
Well, I have to say this. I will honestly say the one thing that has helped me is knowing myself. I have to know me and be honest with myself. Now, my best friend over there, she and I'm going to use that. Because she has literally had to shut me down, like, you know, because my world is in the public's eye. So everybody feel like they have an opinion. Everybody want to impart their knowledge or this is what you should do, you shouldn't do that, and da-da-da-da-da. So it's like I don't have, my inner circle is extremely small, okay? So sometimes I am guilty. I will call and she'll be like, hey man, girl, and then she just sits so quiet. And I'm like, hey, are you listening to me? Yes, I'm listening. You know, I didn't even consider maybe she got something going on or whatever. But I will say it definitely, you can only change the situation when you recognize yourself. Change yourself. You know what I mean?
Maturity and
And that is the maturity right there.
We actually fell out. We did. We fell out for a whole year.
You can fall out.
No, we fell out for a whole year based off of our communication styles. We had to come together and say, hey, this communication style is how I operate, this is how you operate. Now, this is my hard boundary. I need X, you need X. And that is our agreement. And that's how we walk this line of I'm not word vomiting on her. I'm not showing up and spilling out into her space. She's not showing up and spilling out into my space.
Yeah.
And then we can keep the parallels working. And now we're like a smooth oil machine. Now it works. But I think you have to agree to come to the table.
That's right.
And it was a choice because like, do you want a friendship that is helping you and like is going to support you moving forward in your next trajectory in your life, or do you want to continue the way that things are? And if you find yourself as complaining a lot, about like this isn't working, well, what are you going to change about it? And I'm not interested in continuing to complain. I will complain until the point of I can do something about this. Let me just shut up and like. Choice.
Yeah.
And it's hard sometimes. And it didn't mean that it wasn't difficult for us to come to that space, but it was like, we can do this and it's worth it.
When my light flicked on, I realized, because I would hear it so much, I'm getting used to people calling me here, and then I was like, look, take the emotion out of it. Listen what you just told me. Would you let me go through that? If you don't, cut it. Like, how can you take the emotion out of it? Because your emotion on this is a choice at this point. If you've gone through it so long, you're choosing to still allow it to bother you. Now that initial part, I get it.
Yeah.
It could shock you, you could cry, you could be happy, sad, but 2-3 years, you give me the same emotion on the same problem.
Yeah.
That is becoming a choice at this part.
Yes,
And then I wonder, you guys have mastered, seem to be working on your friendships, but do you work this hard at love?
No.
So, I can honestly say I do put time into the love life.
Okay.
In that area, I'm really big on communication, because if you can't understand me, I can't understand you. And vice versa. And then if there's a problem, like, we can't talk about it because we don't know how to talk to each other.
Yeah.
So I create those boundaries, and I look for them to create those boundaries as well, so that we are on the same page. Like, if we got a problem, we talking about it before we lay our head down, and then the next day, that's it yesterday. Like, today's a new day, what are we going to achieve today? So I'm really big with that conversation piece in love life.
Okay. Yeah, and I think that when she's saying she does in a relationship, does anybody else able to manage their relationship the same way they can handle their friendships?
I definitely handle all of my relationships
Same.
the same.
Yeah. I think one thing about it, a fundamental rule for me is communication.
Yes.
We can't go nowhere. We can't plan nothing. I can't see eye to eye.
You are
right. There is no intimacy here, and I cannot communicate with you.
And that's the same for like my friendships and even like my family. Like I have to be like that, or else I'm not taking care of me.
And I think it's a healthy communication. Like, you have to strive for that. I'm not big on the theatrics of relationships. Like, you're not about to toxic me out. Because I'm not going to play games. I tap out, you never hear from me again.
I will totally ghost you.
Right, and I will disappear like that. And then just know.
You don't know me.
Right.
I have mastered the skill of ghosting.
Yeah. Right. I do very well at it. Because I'm going to remove myself.
I haven't even entertained that. I was married for 16 years, and after that marriage, it was like, I think I'm gonna live the life Lanesia wants to live for a little while. So now I will talk, I will speak, but if your conversation, because most of the time the first conversation is gonna show you who they are.
Yes.
What Maya Angelou say, when people show you who they are, the first conversation they will introduce, and then it's like, I'm not gonna. And it's simply because I have a very low tolerance for BS and lack of honesty. Because I don't care what kind of relationship we in, I should be able to be honest. My truth, you have to just accept. It's my truth.
Yes.
And I have to accept your truth. So if I say to you, like, hey, I'm not interested in going out this weekend because I have too many things to do. What you gotta do in that seat? Right there? I'm done. explain to you that what I have to do. I just have
So
something
it's
to
gonna
do.
get worse.
Yeah.
Because how can I help you? What can I help you with?
Exactly.
You know, can I be of service? I was talking to this guy. It was so crazy, and I had all these things going on. And I think sometimes when you're working on things and people are not necessarily working on anything, they get in their feelings when you start working on things. So then it's just like, if I knew that I wanted to spend time with somebody, but they had things going on, I would say, well, you know what? I don't have anything going on. How can I come and be of service? Because this is time for me to get to know you, to spend a day in your world, to see what life, the life that you live is like, so I can have a better understanding. How can I be of service to you? Because at some point, you're going to reciprocate that to me and maybe want to see what's going on with me, or how, you know, we have to be able to compliment each other. And I think that we all are living in such a selfish world. It's about me. And when people don't have the emotional intelligence or the maturity, you know, that becomes an issue, because it's like, no, it's going to be about, you know, what are you talking about?
I have a real issue at the age I am with a guy who catches the attitude fast.
Mm.
So it's like, it's not tantrum centered. I don't have to be nice about anything I say. You asked me a question. I gave you an answer.
Right.
So why is it? What is the snickering and we having a regular and the fact that I have to tell you this is an adult conversation has already made me back up down the driveway.
Yeah, they are. And then you have to remind them, you're not entitled to my time.
No.
I'm choosing to be here.
This is a privilege. I honestly think it's not all men. I feel like because women who say I'm not bashing women either. People who say they're empowered may overspeak or direct the relationship that they've been in the past.
Oh, yeah,
and if it's in a director, you can't get in a word. You have not this person doesn't even know you, and she's like, I'm in love with you, you're everything I want, and you la la. She couldn't tell you what his favorite color was. She just buying him stuff, putting him in. He just floating along because she cooking. She has no idea who this man is. She never asked him his opinion. And so when he jumps into a different relationship, this is just my opinion. He jumps into different, he's like waiting on you to tell him what he's supposed to do. Oh no, boo, I'm asking you how you feel. And then when you have an actual dialogue, he's back to 7-year-old, whoever he is. Like,
Experience intimidation as being an entrepreneur, a businesswoman. You have a conversation with a man and he instantly gets intimidated by your success and all that he's done. So then he deflect and start.
Or he'll nitpick and try to downgrade experience.
Oh, you doing this? Like, well, why are you doing this? Well, what you gonna do?
What makes you think you supposed to?
That's a negative person anyway. So I don't really think it's like just you. I think everything.
After you find, especially if you approach me and you know I'm a singer, you know I travel a lot. So if I give you the time and you get an attitude because I say, well, let's schedule some time. Oh, you need to schedule time.
Oh my God.
Or if you that well, when you gonna spend time together? When are you gonna not? When do you gotta go out of town again?
What would you like?
No, you don't even have to worry about that.
What does he say in her song? How do you add to me? At what point are we gonna stop and actually look at our relationship as something to pour into and not just reap the benefits of? I think it's a mutually reciprocal relationship, and it's hard to find somebody who understands the lifestyle, being an entrepreneur, creative in this space, and always being busy, but also like, I'm choosing time to be here and show up with you. How can you show up with me in a way that may not be opportune to you?
But as she said, how can I help you?
Right.
If you're too busy right now for us to go out and spend time together, how can I help you? At the end of the day, you're still bonding and spending time together.
Let's see, you come into your life. Oh, go ahead.
Oh no, I'm saying you have to get out of being selfish. But also, we have to remember, like, we all have our traumas. And certain things that happen can trigger other people. And so we have to be observant. You know, I, in my older age, in relationships or even in conversations, I talk a little bit less. I listen a lot more. Because my grandmother always used to say, listen more than you talk. And I'm like, duly noted. Now at 48 years old, I'm like, what you saying?
It's so much easier now that you're older, and I think that's life experience.
Yeah.
Now that you're older, it's like all of the things you used to hear the older folks
They
say.
make
You know,
sense now.
it makes so much
How come it's
sense.
making sense for us?
Not everybody. Not everybody.
Like Coffee said, when do you decide to be
mature?
When you're tired of being in the state
And see,
that you're in.
we didn't say, oh, it looks like it's my birthday, time for maturity. You know,
It's like life definitely checked in, like, you good? Okay, look, you at.
But I feel like if you have a person, like say you had a friend and they haven't hit the mature level, you like, I'm growing past this level, maybe they're a seasonal friend. And you say, hey, you don't want to leave them yet. You say, hey, you know, is there anything you would like to do? Like, is there anything you haven't explored? Do you have trouble? If you trying to dig deep just to do a check-in.
Y'all two and y'all looks.
I know, meantime. You want to do a check-in because maybe they're not aware that they're stagnant.
But and a lot of times
They have to want to.
they have to want to, and they have to be receptive.
But you have to go through a huge traumatic situation to change.
I think a lot of times people are like I'm realizing for myself. So I'm lesbian. I'm also ethically non-monogamous, which is a whole other thing. But a lot of people I'm realizing is like attachment styles and like how are you used to moving in relationships. And so like I really will say that from what I've noticed, like because I didn't used to date men when I would date men, it's just they used to be empowered. And so if you are continuously in a caregiving mode and you're always getting in relationships where someone's kind of caring and you're not necessarily on equal emotional labor footing, there is a challenge there. It's hard to actually get what you need and find someone who's actually going to step up to the plate because it's also it's uncomfortable. Like change is uncomfortable.
It is.
Like becoming secure in yourself is uncomfortable when you're used to just being anxious all the time. I know I have a very like anxious attachment style. And I've really had to come into understanding of that, especially being ethically non-monogamous. And so from that standpoint, it's like, oh, how much am I allowing and how much am I getting upset about things that really ain't got shit to do with me? It has nothing to do with me. And it's because I'm trying to insert myself and I'm feeling entitled about things and I'm used to like, I don't have to. People will show you who they are, but it's do I want to see that? And do I want to take the moment and step back and sit and be uncomfortable in that moment while they're showing you who they are. And
you gotta learn.
now it's like, okay.
So when out of that time period of your life, when did you decide to be you and be comfortable with you versus I'm uncomfortable because this person is squeezing me into this space? When did you say, this is my space and this is who I am and you need to sprinkle yourself throughout there?
I'm constantly coming into that. I'm constantly learning myself.
It's always a journey.
Yes. It's to me, it's just a journey, not a destination. And so it's like my life is continuing flowing as new obstacles come up. I'm confronted with new traumas, new triggers, new everything else. I don't know how to deal with this. Okay. And I can complain about it. She knows. And then, she'll finally have a moment with me. She's like, get your shit together.
Right.
And then I'll have to shift my thought process. And so I might not necessarily change my situation,
Right.
but my thought process and my attitude towards the situation.
How you react.
Yeah. How do you spark that? How do you spark that change in your thought process?
Your thought process. So like she said, the situation doesn't change, but you can choose how you choose to react.
Yeah.
So it's still a choice.
So it's mental.
And you can only control yourself.
That's true. And I wanted to piggyback off what she said about when they were saying to grow, when you grow. It's about when you want to hold the mirror. When you gotta look at yourself. When you gotta recognize your part in it and be accountable. Until you're ready to do that, I don't feel like people are gonna mature or grow.
But also, like, I started this process of personal reflection in high school. I had to take the labels off of people because, we have family, we have mothers, fathers, sisters, friends, and sometimes we can't understand that they're not the title first. They're not the title first. They're showing up as the title now. And so, especially with my parents, I love them dearly, and we have grown in a relationship that works. But for a while, I had to see mom as, I'm not using real names, mom as Susie and dad as Philip. Like, we could not exist in a way that made sense for us to be in a parent-child dynamic. And sometimes you have to step outside of, like, you were you first, so let me learn the person to be able to understand this. Now, when it came to me personally, sometimes you have to realize that everybody ain't an issue. You walking around with baggage, childhood trauma, fears, your shadow self creeping in the corner like Dr. Like, we have things going on.
And I think at some point, people take setting those boundaries too far because they take those traumas out into the world and expect everybody in the world to treat them.
But boundaries are
Use it
not
as an
for the
excuse.
world, they're for you.
Yes.
You have to, when you set a boundary, it doesn't matter if that person blow past that boundary or anything like that. Are you
It's up to
upholding
you.
the value to yourself?
Right.
Are you saying, I stand 10 toes on this and I'm not moving, and thank you, I enjoyed our time, but we have to part ways.
Yes, that's the part.
That is the part.
It's letting go.
And I'm quick and cool. I'm a black queen. I get banish out of your life. Heart, like, and I tell her that she doesn't like that about me, because she be like, oh, I'm this person one day. I would blink and not remember her name. Like, I'm so quick with it.
So sorry.
I will see you tomorrow and be like, oh, hey.
Bestie was the only one.
No,
And I'm with you. That drives me crazy. Because in my mind, I look at it, and this is definitely a decision that you have to make within yourself, right? Because you're looking at somebody who was physically, emotionally, sexually abused my whole entire childhood. So I made certain decisions to not give up.
Right.
You know, but when I say, when people come into my life, I don't have that, oh, I gotta get away from them. I can just vanish and disappear. I can't do that. For me, I have to, let me see. I'm gonna try once, maybe twice. Let me see if I can help you see yourself. So that you can change and grow. And then that way, I can feel good, like, okay, I've done something to try, it may be my calling. But to hear you say
you have to realize, I've had experiences where I tried to take and heal a situation to the point of no return. Listen, sometimes I know I can't take you with me. Sometimes I know for a fact you are not mine to keep, and you are here for the season and just a reason. And I can't take you with me. And so I have to be able to be okay to let you go, because I'll try to bring you into my next season and God will block my gift of hell.
Right. Absolutely.
So
that you're able, you can get your name and
absolutely. She absolutely hates it, because I'm like, who are you talking about?
Well, when
I
I started putting things as sections, realizing, and I started learning about soul ties, realizing that this was space that they were keeping.
When you identify that, do it instantly shut you down?
It don't shut me down, but it just, you get a reflection of what happened in the past. Like, man, I could have had more time. If I had done that person fast, you know what I mean? You get your little different reflection. But then also, you like, oh, I realize why I'm here. You start having why I'm here moments. Say, man, I can't fix nobody. I can't change nobody. But man, I know what I need to do. And when I start seeing my goals get further, because I'm like, oh, I'm worried about how they feeling. Now I'm conforming into what they can tolerate or handle. And so when you recognize that, you don't feel like, when people do bad to you, you don't feel like they're doing bad to you.
Yes.
They really would probably treat anybody like that.
So with that being said, choose the health instead of the history.
Because time don't mean nothing to nobody.
He said, Nasia, people that come into your life are going to do either one of three things. They're either going to stagnate your life, where you can't go forward or backwards. They're going to degrade you, where your life is dropping and you're like, what is all this negativity around? That person is bringing you down. Or they're going to help you get to the level, to the next level. So when people come in and, and they try to get into that inner circle, that's when that knowledge from mama and them said, kind of shut up.
You put them in a category.
You start listening. And say, you can easily walk away, and because one of the things that I'm doing for this new year, right? I'm recreating my lifestyle for what I want and what I'm gonna have capacity for. I'm not making any alterations in June. I'm not showing up differently in September. The goal of mine is to really have the community that I want, to have the time that I want, and to be able to invest it where I feel like I'm going to be nurtured and where I can nurture and water other people. And sometimes in this space, when you're trying to launch, it's almost like a failure to launch because you got your mind 20 million places. And you don't want to tell them, no, I can't, I don't have time for you, I don't have space for you. But realistically, I really had to get real with, okay, you're a caregiver. So how do I actually schedule in the time and manage it so I can also be successful in where I want to actually pour my energy into?
Well, I'm glad you said that. So we are going into 2024, and But First Coffee is about, and we're big on quotes. So I always want to know and curious the quotes you use to get through or what quotes you want to do. So we don't do resolutions because I feel like your quote is constantly changing. But seeing that it's New Year's Eve, what quote can you ladies give me a piece that?
I got one. So I have a board at home that I change my quotes weekly on. And the most recent one that I put on is said, it's the destination, not the journey. It's what it's about, but don't forget to learn along the way.
You know, it is everything that's going on outside of me is a reflection of what's going on inside of me. So when people start showing up in your life in a certain way, or you experience certain things, what is happening inside of me that this is reflecting? And then what is it that I need to adjust, curtail, and whatever the case may be, because a lot of times things come in our lives to kind of hold up a mirror and be like, okay, girl, you're tripping. And you're like, you did. Even if you never said it, what's in your heart? How are you thinking? How are you, maneuvering? What are you presenting to people? And then figuring that out and then moving forward from there, because it's always going to start with me first.
So like my favorite quote is, wellness is an intimate continuous journey. We get to choose to be intimately aware of our own state. As long as we are making sure we are holistically well, the journey's going to continue. And so I get to show up like that and choose to show up like that with my friends and my family.
So Paulo Coelho is like one of my favorite authors. The Alchemist is a book I continuously revisit every single time I'm going through a major transition in my life, and there's always new lessons there. But one of the things that I got from that book is tell your heart that fear of suffering is worse than the suffering itself, and that no heart has ever suffered when it goes in search of its dreams, because every second of the search is a second's encounter with God and with eternity. And so it's we are here and we are alive, and we have a choice to either choose our suffering or choose our pleasure.
Okay, mine is because I walk like a pimp and I talk like a Okay, guys, we're gonna count down into the new year. Are you guys ready? We got 10 seconds left. So 10,